Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first official episode of the Commodity Insights with Farmers Trading Company. My name's Connor. With me is Andrew Streff and Vince Boddicker, the two other brokers at our firm here. Um, First of all, we'd like to just introduce you to our firm a little bit and explain kind of the history of Farmers Trading Company. And I don't think anyone is more equipped to do that other than the one and only Vince Boddicker. So he's going to tell you a little bit about Farmers Trading Company.
Thank you, Connor. Well, Farmers Trading Company was started back in 1983 by a farmer, Gene Hamaker, just as a way of having another way to price his crops and do things. He was generally concerned with the production agriculture at that time. He did start out teaching classes, which we've done for several years, of trying to get people the insight of what options and what avenues and alternatives the futures market did offer producers out there. We've been in existence again since 1983. We work with futures and options, and the majority of our trades and customers are actual farm producers, but we do also work on the spec side and the investment side. We work with any of the commodities, whether it be the energy markets, the soft markets, currencies, whatever anybody wants to look at, we have the ability to do that.
I think that's cool. It's cool to be working for such a local company that has its roots here in Mitchell and has been able to help a lot of different producers in their operations. But some cool news also is this place has moved on to the next generation. Andrew Streff here is actually the new owner of Farmers Trading Company, and he has some goals and visions for this place he'd like to tell us about.
Yeah, so this company, I'm really excited for what we have done in the past. We're 41 years into our business operation now, and I'm really looking forward to the next 41 years, see where things are looking at down the road. In the past, we've always focused on education as our number one thing and customer service. And by no means are we done with that. Education will be our number one priority going forward here. We're going to make sure that customers are well educated on the markets here. And then also customer service will be very important. The customer and the farmer will always be our number one priority with their best goals in mind. And also with that, we're going to make sure that we focus on using a lot of technology as much as possible. There's so many different avenues that we can bring this information to our farmers, and our goal is to make sure that we continue utilizing that as best as possible. Now, it goes without being said that in these markets, it is so tough to know exactly what's going to be happening down the road. And so by no means can we promise that we will always know exactly what the markets are doing, but we will always be working to make sure that we are providing the most up-to-date and quality information that we possibly can. And something that I think will continue to set our brokerage firm apart from other ones in the future is how closely tied we are to the agricultural industry. There's so many firms out there that they're sitting in the office, they're not even necessarily certain on what's happening in the ag industry. Every single person sitting with me today here, we all either are currently farmers or were a farmer at one point in our lives. So it really gives us a very solid understanding of what is happening in the industry today. And so we can always continue bringing more and more focus about what's happening today and looking at the future as well. You know, I'm a young producer here in Connor as well as a young farmer. So we're constantly thinking about where is the future of the farming industry? Where is the future of the markets going? They all go hand in hand. And I'm really excited to see where the next 41 years bring this business for us.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to be a part of and all the different goals that we have set here. One of those main goals is this podcast, the Commodity Insights podcast, and it kind of goes along with what Andrew was saying there. That the goal of this is just to get information out to you guys quicker. So with everything changing and everything happening so fast this day and age with social media and all the different things you can do with the internet, I think it's important for producers and farmers to be able to get up to date information that's accurate, that's reliable, that's relevant to them, and that's kind of the goal. What the building blocks we're trying to build this podcast off of. And so we just want to provide you with weekly updates on what's going on in the markets, what's causing things to move, why are they moving, why aren't they moving, and that's kind of the goal here, is just to give you some insights on that. But we'd like to introduce ourselves too for people out there who are listening who have no idea who we are. My name's Connor Brockhouse. I farm here close to Mitchell, and I just joined the crew here a couple months ago, and I kind of got an interest with the commodity side of things when I went to Mitchell Tech. I was kind of educated on the different futures markets, and I started trading here with Vince and Andrew right when I got out of school, and it really just kind of was always my favorite part of farming was the marketing and how I can use these different tools and different strategies, and that's kind of what led me back to this place to come here for a career. And that's a little bit about me. I guess I'll let Vince kind of explain his story and how he got here.
Oh, thank you, Connor. Well, I grew up in a diversified family farm, was in that business successfully for 18 years before I got in this business 33 years ago. Looking at it, it was maybe a choice of lifestyle and family that I made that transition. We still own all the farmland, still involved in management of that, and actually have some things of my own that I still do there. And I got involved in this because of the owner, Mr. Gene Hamaker. Some of the classes he took, I was one of his customers. And when I got to the point where I was looking at making some changes, I just really came to Gene and said, so Gene, you got an opening that we can come in and sit down and work together? And he said, yes, come in, we'll make it work.
That's cool to hear. It's neat to be able to work with someone that's been in this business so long and has so much experience as Vince does. There's just a lot of different knowledge that we can tap into, a lot of different ideas that Vince can come up with that help us young brokers here. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself too, Andrew, and how you got here and what led you to this place?
Sure thing. Well, thank you, Vincent Connor. So a little bit about myself. I farm northwest of Salem, South Dakota, and I got into this game right in the heat of COVID. I want to say I started working here with Vince in May of 2020. I got my background in the ag industry, of course, grew up on a family farm. I started renting land from my parents as an FFA project when I was 13 years old. And so I like to tell people that even though I'm new to this game, I've been marketing grain since I was 13 years old. And I've always found a lot of fun in taking care of the marketing and a passion for the numbers behind the agricultural industry. And so that's how I got into this business. I went to college for ag business, and then I was busy driving the planter in the spring of 2020. And I got a call from Vince asking if I'd be interested in joining the brokering team. And here I am just under 4 years later and enjoying every moment of getting to work with the industry and the customers.
It's really neat to hear, and it's cool to see all the different history and how we all came together here and how we can help producers in the future. And I just hope that this podcast can kind of grow into that, a tool that everybody locally can come to that has local up-to-date information as well as worldly up-to-date information that can help with those marketing decisions. And there's just so many different things that play into this market today. I don't know, do you guys have any ideas on like what would be like the number one thing you think that affects markets today that a guy should listen for or that seems to drive them? I mean, there's so many different influential things. It's just hard to narrow down all this information and decide, is this relevant? Is this something I should be selling or buying based off of, or is it something that I should ignore? Kind of what are your thoughts on that, Vince or Andrew?
Okay, I'll go first in here. As you look at it, Connor, I think the biggest thing that affects our trading anymore is the algorithm traders who came into this game several years ago. Many days you don't know why a market is doing what it's doing, and that's usually the reason. They've got some information they picked up somebody else didn't. But there's somewhere around 80 to 85% of the volume in all the markets, whether it be agriculture or otherwise. And again, yes, social media and all the other news outlets we can get, news travels so quickly, and how quickly can you analyze it and how quickly can you get it, and where is the accurate information that you really want to hear?
And I guess I'll go a little bit old school. The algorithms, they certainly are a big part of what's going on in the markets today. But I think we also need to take a nod to supply and demand, just the good old economics of what's going on in the world. How much corn and beans, how many cattle are we raising here in the US? How much is getting raised in South America? What does Chinese imports look like? South American infrastructure? Are there going to be diseases in the swine industry down over in China again? What does population growth or decline look like going forward? How much food are we going to need in the years to come? These are all really important questions that will continue to affect the supply and demand of what's going on in the world, and definitely need to keep an eye on those things.
Really good, really good. Yeah, it is definitely interesting to look out there and see how much corn and beans there are in the country, and hearing on these cattle on feed reports how many livestock are out there. It's definitely something that plays into it. But I think we got a lot of cool things to discuss in the future, but I don't want to get too lengthy on this first podcast. So I think we're going to go ahead and call that good. But thank you to everyone who listened and everyone who's going to listen in the future. Just thank you for all the support at Farmers Trading, and special shout out to all our customers as well. And thank you for the business that you've brought us through the years. And we hope to meet your needs even better in the future. So thanks.